Hi, Jenny. Welcome to the
Vanessa.
welcome to the Stagwell Sport Beach content series.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So Jenny and I are longtime industry friends, so I'm excited to talk about creator-led content, advertising effectiveness, and whatever else we come up with.
All my favorite topics.
Amazing. All right, so let's dive right in. I would love to know from you, what are the elements of creator-led content that lead to the most human and, dare I say, authentic content?
Can say authentic. Listen, I always talk about creators in the sense of when you're doing brand campaigns and you're looking to partner with a creator, it's always important to remember that creators have built their audiences off of their own backs, right? So they really, truly, authentically know how to engage with that content and build that human connection with others. Our mission at Influencer is to humanize brands through content. So we know that emotion is so important in the work that we do. And being able to elicit that emotion through great creative content and strategy with creators is really important.
Amazing, amazing. So when it comes to, emotion in marketing-led activity, that's what System1's all about. So we're all about measuring emotion in everything that we do, and it's really about the 7 universal emotions. So I'm not sure about your content, but we're all about, how can you bring in the surprise? How can you bring in the happiness? How can you even bring in some of those negative emotions like sadness? We all know that creator-led content, it makes us cry. But the power of emotion has allowed us as a business to help brands predict real in-market results. So that's what we're all about, and it's nice that we're able to kind of intersect on that topic. So in this world of performance-based measurement, what are those key things that you look at from a measurement standpoint in creator-led content, and what are the pitfalls of looking at measurement and making smart decisions?
I think, taking even a step back from that, it's a great question because what's really important about creator marketing is that it is measurable, right? And there was such a period of time, especially when I joined Influencer almost 3 years ago, where everyone was saying creator marketing is the wild, wild west. And I kept sitting in all these panel discussions thinking, why does everyone keep saying that? I've been in media a long time, and I know that we can measure creator-led results in a similar methodology to how we measure other digital activations. Why are we making up new terms? Why are we trying to find new things? Like, let's measure the effectiveness of this, or whatever your measurement might be. May that be emotion, sales, upper funnel, lower funnel. And we really at Influencer pushed hard on that when I joined, and we built a really robust measurement framework. But what's important about setting measurement up appropriately is really understanding those KPIs in pre-sale, right? And if you can understand them correctly, if you can develop a deep relationship with both the client and ideally the creators in the campaign, and that's our job, is to bridge that gap between the creators and the clients, you can really build effective campaigns that ultimately are extremely measurable. And that's what's important.
Amazing.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about storytelling. So how important is storytelling in your creator-led content?
To us, it's really important, right? Like although much of the work we do is project-based, we really encourage brands to use certain creators consistently, right? How can you build that storyline arc, and not necessarily even episodically, but how over time is that creator building more of a relationship with that brand, which ultimately is going to translate to their audience, right? Because if you are invested in a creator, you frequently watch their content, you are seeing the fact that they're consistently posting about a specific brand, you start to engage with that creator and ultimately that brand in a different way. So we want that storytelling, we want that consistency, we want that narrative in order to really drive the ultimate business outcomes. I think on that note, for System1, I'm curious, you guys have done a lot of research around emotion, but how can you mirror storytelling content with also needing to drive powerful marketing results? Is that measurable? How does that work?
Yes. So we have measured over 150,000 ads, and we've really mapped everything that the right brain can tell you about emotional response to work. And there are common elements that do drive a more intense positive emotion, which leads to stronger business results. And one of them is storytelling. And, being able to connect with someone's individual story, or watching a story of two people unfolding, making eye contact, feeling that strong emotion amongst the two people. We're seeing that as extremely powerful, and one of the things that we really champion for our clients and brands to embrace.
Great. And do you see that happening more in creator-led content, or do you look at creator-led content differently than perhaps a more traditional brand asset?
Yeah, so we recently did a study where we analyzed thousands of TikToks and really looked at creator-led content. We looked at brand native content. We looked at, frankly, content that was part of a larger, 360 campaign. And all three of those can work really well. But I will say, within creator-led content, if you have the ability to create that human connection and also get your early branding in, that's like the sweet spot for effectiveness.
That's great. That's super helpful for us. I mean, we find a lot that brands have specific guidelines, right? That they would like to follow, but we always try to marry like the reality of how a creator produces content with then the reality of what the brand also has to achieve, right? And if you can find that middle ground of giving some guardrails around the content creation, but ultimately letting the creator do what they do best, which is creating the content. That's really what I think the secret sauce is, and probably a lot of what you're seeing in your data.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of our partnerships, because it isn't always about taking an individual brand and necessarily doing pre-testing. It really is looking at a body of thousands of, campaigns and really finding those nuggets of insights on what are those things that are going to be really sticky, and, get that attention and get those more than 2 seconds, more than 4 seconds, more than 20 seconds on the channel.
You bring up something so interesting, because pre-testing is so challenging with creator work, right? Because you're not producing these heavily high production, art directed, right? These are real people telling human stories on behalf of brands. And so for us, we really have to lean into that storytelling. How are we briefing the creators? How are we constantly redoing our briefing templates, our conversations with the creators, building more of a direct narrative and conversation between my team and them, and then ultimately the brand, to make sure we can deliver those right results. So a little birdie told me that you are launching some new research this week at Cannes. I nerd out over this. Tell me everything you can tell me.
Yes. So we have 4 sets of studies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. It's been a really, really, really busy week. So we started the week with our partnership with JC&Co. And it's called Double Take, and it's all about doubling your impact with out-of-home. And we know that out-of-home isn't always the first thing that has the highest ROIs in maybe your media plan, but we're a champion for out-of-home. We absolutely geek out over it.
We are too. Big champions. We believe creators should live more than a line item on your media plan, and you can build that storyline again. So much creative consistency with having them live outside of social. So we double down with you guys on that.
Amazing. And you just said consistency, and you said it earlier. So late last year, we launched our first set of research, and we're actually just updated it. It's called The Power of Compound Creativity. And that is really exploring everything about brand-led advertising and marketing when it comes to launching new campaigns, doing iterative work on campaigns, sticking with the same agency. What can you do with your effectiveness in market if you decide to stick with the great decisions you've made, whether or not it's a great decision in a partner, whether or not it's a great decision in positioning? When you have something that's gold, what can happen when you actually stick with it over time?
So it's more like, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? You don't always have to be innovating if you have something that's working.
Yeah, it's about 80% familiar, 20% new. So we find that the intensity of emotion comes through when your customer base has that level of familiarity. It really unlocks a comfort level to be able to feel all of the emotions when it comes to the work. All right, so what else do we have? We have the effectiveness in TikTok. So I mentioned it earlier. We analyzed thousands of ads on TikTok to really find those nuggets of insights, so that we can help brief teams who may be creating hundreds or thousands of ads in a week and can't necessarily test every single ad. But what have we learned from that, and how can we essentially help creative teams get smarter quicker on creating effective work? And I mentioned it, and I'll just say it again. Don't be afraid of branding. It actually really helps you. And the fourth one is really exciting. So we have been, speaking of analyzing thousands of ads, we analyzed our entire database of hundreds of thousands of ads, cross-referenced it with the FE data bank to essentially showcase how our measures, our Star Spike fluency measures, correlate with real case studies from FE, which we know are kind of mainly on lockdown. Not everyone gets to see every business result, but what we did is correlated our ratings to really prove out the predictiveness of our measures and how you can expect real in-market results.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, congratulations.
Thank
to
you.
Guys. That's very exciting. And what a moment at Cannes to be launching all of this exciting work.
Yeah. Well, I'm so thankful that you joined me and can't wait to continue to do more with Influencer.
Thank you. We truly appreciate it. And congrats on all your success.
All right. Thanks. You too.
Thank you.